What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Summer CM. It's episode 27 and heading into today's episode after officially ending our 4th season, obviously Serie A champions, early knockouts to be fair in the Champions League and the Coppa Italia as well. I wanted to go a little bit further in the Champions League and especially in the Coppa Italia. Last 16, not very far. Barcelona, of course, very tough draw, but to be fair, the Coppa Italia was a bit of a bottle job really, wasn't it? But anyway, Serie A Championship, heading into the new season here, you see our budget, £90 million. That's about right, to be fair. You know, I say this a lot, but like when you're doing an RTG, like there comes a point where the budget you get are pretty much astronomical. But if you're doing a save like this one where you're building up from what is a very lowly rated team and a very, very poor start like we were with this club, then of course you've got to factor in the things we've done for realism, like the stadium upgrade and so on and so forth. That budget to me is about fair. You know, we just won the championship, so obviously got £100 million in prize money for that. The board are always going to skim a bit on the top. Obviously then you've got the tax to worry about as well. If you're doing things realistically, that's probably about fair, I would say, £90 million. And this to me is, I don't want to get into this too much, but this to me is where I feel like EA kind of need to, I'm not sure what the word is here, they kind of need to consider, I suppose, those who prefer to play the game for the more realistic element as well. Because when you get that astronomical war chest in like season 3, sometimes you got a budget of like just shy of £200 million. It's like, at that point, to me, that's when the game becomes a little bit, I don't know, I wouldn't necessarily say tedious to play. Of course, it can be fun to go on a spending spree, but it's not quite as fun as when it's more of a challenge. At least I would say so anyway. So that, to me, a £90 million budget is about realistic and about fair as well. So yeah, heading into the new season, you'll see our squad heading into season 5. Obviously, quite a few players, the deals are coming at the end of the year. Get out a few new contracts. Coppola, who's an academy graduate. Luca Warwick, who is still here, man. Like, this guy never developed the way I was really hoping he would. But even so, I want to keep him. He's a decent bench player to have, so he's staying. Casadei, this is a young centre after we loaned out for the past 2 years. He's now up to 75 overall. So proof right there that the loan system in FIFA CM that was broken before now works. So I'm really pleased by that. If you remember a few years ago, the loan system in FIFA CM was basically pointless. You'd loan players out. Obviously, due to the limitations of the game, you don't know whether they're getting game time or not, unless that club is playing in the same division as you or in a European competition. But in terms of the loan system now it works. He's up to 75 overall. That's fantastic. So pleased with that. And also, of course, Ibrahim Bamba as well. He's now become our vice captain in this team. So, of course, he is going absolutely nowhere. But in terms of new signings with this Como team for the new season here, I was thinking, where do we need to improve? Well, last season I talked about the importance of the wingbacks in our team, and the reason why we were a lot more defensively stable, just simply put, a lot better, is because we had two wide-sided players on the left side and the right side who were both really, really solid, both at the back and also going forward as well. That was, of course, Spinazzola in his second year for us, and of course he signed Hatterberg as well. Now Spinazzola is out of contract come the end of the season. I gave him an extra 18 months back in January, but of course there's no guarantee he's going to want to stay long term, because he can of course leave on a free transfer now in January to other clubs. So I wanted long-term success of Spinazzola now in his 30s, and this guy is literally, and I mean literally, the perfect fit. I would say out of every single player in world football right now, this guy is the #1 perfect target. Yep, I'm sure you know who he is. Destiny Udogie, left-sided player from Udinese to Spurs. This guy's a heck of a talent, man. I mean, he really, really is. It's a shame that he's not going to get the chance to develop under Antonio Conte at Spurs after, of course, his sacking last season, which he kind of loaded the smoking gun and gave it to Daniel Levy, didn't he, after his comments against Southampton. But Destiny Udogie, he's a heck of a baller. Like, he really is a great talent. And one thing I love about Udogie is exactly what's going to be crucial for us in this team as well. The energy, absolutely fantastic. He's rapid, he's quick, but he's got legs for days. This guy can run up and down the pitch all game long for 90 plus minutes, not a problem. And technically as well, good at the back, and also offers something going forward as well. So Udogie is in the final year of his contract with Spurs, so £40 million. That's a decent deal for us, I would say, just shy of half the budget. And following that, we have bids here for two of our more senior players from Premier League sides. First, Galini, wanted by Crystal Palace, our backup goalkeeper. Totally fine letting him go. And also, this was just really interesting, but Angie coming in for Spinazzola, he said, you're going to take our left-sided player, we'll take yours then. I was like, fine, that's not a problem, mate. Yes, it's over half of what we paid, just under half, sorry, for Udogie, but I mean, Spinazzola in his 30s, he's going to start declining at some point, and in the final year of his contract, to get 17.5 mil for him, I'll take it. And for Galini, to get £8 million for him in his final year of his contract as well, I'll take that. It's £25.5 million for two players on expiring deals, both seniors. Galini now 29, due to turn 30, and Spinazzola close to his mid-30s. I'll take that. I'll definitely take that because, you know, I mention this a lot, but like when it comes down to goalkeepers in FIFA CM, I mean, you know, if I'm being honest here, you really only need one, which is crazy. Now, obviously, if you're playing a game for realism like we tend to do, then of course you're going to want two or three, and you want a decent backup, I would say, for the realism more than anything. But if you're just playing the game for strategy purposes and nothing else, you don't even need a backup goalkeeper. But worst comes to worst, just sign like a free agent 50 rated goalkeeper on like £600 a week. It's not a problem because goalkeepers, they never get injured. They literally never get injured. I think it's impossible for them to get injured now that training injuries no longer exist in the game. And also, suspensions. When was the last time you got a goalkeeper red carded? It might have happened, but I'd have to go back years. And I don't mean years within the save. I mean years playing FIFA, back to like FIFA 15, FIFA 14. That was the last time I can remember one of my goalkeepers getting suspended. It doesn't happen, so you don't really need a backup goalkeeper. So with that being the case, totally fine sending Galini for £8 million to Crystal Palace. He's off for Roy Hodgson's side, and of course Spinazzola goes to Spurs as well. Speaking of Spurs, well, this was a really interesting one. So last season, right, this guy was available as a free transfer, and I was like, I'm probably not going to pick him up. I don't really need him. Right wing back, Japhet Tanganga, the young Spurs defender, of course now 27 years old in the game. This guy, and it's not the first time I've signed this guy on a free, but this guy, he starts off as a wing-back in the save, right? But he is just a natural centre-half if I've ever seen one. Now, I know he's 5'11", so he's under the 6-foot criteria, which is important for old-school football managers and girls on Tinder, but he's got a decent jumping stat, and he's got really good strength and defensive awareness as well. So really, the 5'11" isn't too big of a deal. So he was available as a free all season long last year. And this is something which I don't understand about FIFA sometimes. Like, sometimes players are available for a free for, well, over a year. Like in this case here with Tanganga, when it's like, why? For what reason? I mean, he's literally 80 rated, and we're going to convert him to centre-half. And you know what's going to happen. As soon as he becomes an official centre-half, he's going to have an overall increase. He is a defender that can walk into the vast majority of clubs' starting 11s in this Serie A right now. Why is he still available on a free transfer? It makes literally no sense. What's he doing? Serving a ban for doping? I mean, honestly, what's he doing there? Absolutely ridiculous, man. And that's one thing with EA as well. I feel as though, like, to me, listen, you know, back in the day, players never got released on free transfers, and it was incredibly unrealistic. You would have seen this. I would have seen this. Players just automatically would renew their contracts at their clubs, even if they're like 8th choice striker and like 60 overall at Manchester United or whatever. They still wouldn't get given a new contract. But it is a lot more realistic now that players do get released. However, the destinations where they go to at times is really, really stupid. And sometimes, again, they'll just sit in the free agents pool doing nothing. You think Tanganga, in the prime of his career right now, 27 years old, he would have been 26 when released, at 80 overall, he's just going to sit and say, no, I'm going to have a year off. I'm going to go on a gap year, you know? Like, what? Obviously not. It's ridiculous. That's something that EA really needs to look into. More realistic destinations when players get released on free transfers, because they'll just go anywhere in world football for the most part. But also as well, if they've got that kind of caliber, they should be snapped up pretty quickly. I'm not saying within the first day or two, but a year? A year out of the game? That makes absolutely no sense. So, following up, I did sign 2 new free agent goalkeepers. Maya, a Swiss goalkeeper there, of course, said before, of us being in Como. We want to look for some Swiss talent as well to keep it realistic with Como, bordering Switzerland, but also as well, Sirigu. You know, I like that veteran goalkeeper there to be the mentor for the youngsters. Salvatore Sirigu, part of the Italy squad that won the Euros back in 2021. Obviously, Donnarumma was the hero, of course, in the shootout, so Sirigu didn't play, but even so, he was there. Dressing room experience, won loads of things at Paris Saint-Germain at domestic level. Ligue 1, Coupe de France, Coupe de la Ligue, a defunct competition now as well. So 39 years old, just here for the vibes and also for the mentorship as well. And again, for the realism too, as Maya comes in. And also as well, as to complete our 5th new signing on a free transfer, Eduardo Bove. Really happy with this. He moved on from Roma to Mallorca, and it was kind of frustrating because I wanted to pick him up. We didn't have the money to sign him. So in the end, we went after Lavia that year. But now Bove is in a couple of years later and will definitely take it. This guy is a brilliant, absolutely brilliant jack of all trades midfielder, and I really like midfielders that are like that, you know, especially in a system like ours that are defensively really solid, like Bove is. Could definitely play as a ball winner midfielder or possibly an anchor man, but also can offer something going forward as well. In this team, we've got Dragovic. He's kind of like my box-to-box, really. Levy has been my DM, my pure 6, but Bove can come in, replace the Belgium, and do just as good of a job there to partner Dragovic as well. So yeah, really happy with that signing there for just over £40 million. So following that, as promised, here we go. Japhet Tanganga, position change to centre half, and he grows 5 ratings to 85 overall. And this is why you shouldn't be put off by, again, that 5'11" height tag there, because look at the jumping stat. 87. That's the joint highest stat, or joint second highest stat he's got at 87. He's not going to lose many aerial duels. Even though he's not the tallest, and he's going to come against some forwards that are like 6'2", 6'3", he's not going to lose the vast majority of duels because his jumping stat is still really good. His defensive awareness stat is also really good as well. That's in the high 80s, I think, or the mid 80s. So that means that he's also going to be in a very good positional area when marking as well. He's got decent interceptions. He's got good strength. He's not going to lose that many aerial duels. So it's okay for him to be 5'11". So that's not too big of a blow there. So yeah, this guy to me, like, again, you can sign him on a free transfer from season 4 onwards in FIFA CM, and I recommend it for literally any team you're using. I don't care whether you're using Real Madrid or Barcelona or Manchester City or whoever else. I don't really care. This guy, once you do the position change, he'll grow 4 or 5 ratings because naturally that's where he's best at in terms of all his in-game attributes. So definitely, to me, pick this guy up on a free transfer when he becomes available. Again, normally around season 4, he's available on a free. Pick him up, man. He's so good. And again, he'll walk into the vast majority of teams' starting 11. And when that position change takes hold and he grows an extra 4 or 5 ratings, like he has for us, growing 5 ratings, he now becomes one of the best players in the team. On a free transfer, I'll say it once again, what is this guy doing sitting in the free agents pool for a year? It makes literally no sense. EA need to look into this, man, because so often the players get released on free transfers and they just sit there doing absolutely nothing, and I have absolutely no idea why. Anyway, heading into the first game of the season, of course, in our title defense year here away against Cagliari. So almost won the title 2 years ago. That was crazy, man. That would have been one of the most bizarre title wins I would have seen by an AI team had they done it on the final day going for it, and they only missed out on head-to-head record, I believe, against AC Milan. But anyway, Cagliari, Claudio Ranieri's side away from home. Expecting this to be a banker here, even though we are away against a side that would be pretty decent to save here. If we want to be champions once again, these are the games we've got to make sure we win comfortably. I don't know how I was only leading by a goal in the first half an hour. I had chance after chance after chance. I did woodwork twice. Great save. Blazed a shot over the bar by my goal scorer Colombo. Still, I was only leading by 1. Wanted that second goal to wrap this up. Second half begins 3 minutes after the restart. And again, hit the woodwork for I think the 3rd time in the game. Thankfully, didn't matter that I couldn't get ourselves a dagger. We still hold on to the win. Following that, draw for the Champions League group stage. And we've been drawn in. Oh, what a group. What a group. Group F. Arsenal, Benfica, Dynamo Zagreb, class group there, no doubt about it. Last year, of course, we finished runners-up on the head-to-head record to Chelsea, and it was subsequently knocked out in the last 16. We were going back to London, but not to the west. No, we're going to the north. Yep, we'll be taking on Arsenal in North London, the Emirates, over 2 legs there. So really excited for that one there. The Gunners in the Champions League. Also, Dynamo Zagreb, who I'd think, with no disrespect, probably the weakest side out of the 4 there, I would say. And of course, as well, Dynamo Zagreb, Arsenal, and the other team we'll be taking on is Benfica. Benfica going to the Dragao. Obviously, a new stadium for FIFA. Was it FIFA 23 or FIFA 22 when it came into the game with the Dragao? Oh, what a stadium, man. You know I'm a stadium nerd. And there are certain grounds that I love playing FIFA in. And the Dragao is just one of my favourites. It's absolutely class. So yeah, looking forward to that. Should be a good group there. And no doubt about it. Favourites to get through, I would say, after last year getting through with a game to go. And only finishing in second place on the final game after resting all the players against Leverkusen. So yeah, feeling quite confident there. We should be able to make it through. Following game, heading into this one here. First home game of the season. Juve, the old lady, coming to take us on here at Como. Fell behind early, but levelled directly afterwards. What a ball by Dragovic. And then headed in by Colombo. That made it 1-1. And then second half begins, able to turn this game on its head. This guy picking up where he left off last season. Last year, what a signing he was for me, man. Seriously, top scorer in the Serie A. Brill Imbolo giving us the first goal to give us the lead in this game and make it 2-1. Imbolo is just so good in this year's FIFA, man. He's just a complete package, man. He's tall, he's strong, he's quick, and he's got a lethal finish on him as well. He gets us the second goal to get it Robert the first time, and then he sets up our third and a brace for Lorenzo as well. Yeah, great strike partnership last year. It was funny at the start of last season. Do you remember I was saying who should be my main strike partnership? Should it be Colombo and Cutrone like it was in Season 2 and Season 3? Should it be Colombo and Imbolo, the new two? Or should it be Imbolo and the captain Cutrone? Well, listen, we love Cutrone, don't get me wrong, he's club captain, but there's no doubt about it. I've definitely made the right choice here for who should be my dynamic duo up top. Imbolo and Colombo. These two are just lights out. So, final score 3-1, flip the game on its head and come through a comfortable 3-1 win there against Juve in our first game at home this season. So, big win there. And then following that, transfer deadline day comes around. £27 million in the budget. Now, I had one target I was really hopefully getting hold of, but what you got to remember is that nowadays in FIFA, you can't adjust the budget yourself like you used to be able to do. So you've got to remember that when you're looking at that transfer budget spend there, that's combined. That's everything. So you'll see it there, weekly budget, just over £500,000. And the transfer budget, 27.5 million, but ultimately that's combined. So really, we're looking at a budget of around 24 million pounds, I would say, when you take in wage budget consideration. So for Cancellieri, we could possibly have agreed a fee if we did a sell-on clause as well of around 27 million pounds. But that would mean we got no money to give him a contract as well. So, yeah, you've got to remind yourself of that nowadays. When you look at your budget, remember it's a combined budget. It's not just separate. And you've got, for example, right now, 27.2 mil and £500,000 for a contract. No. That's combined. That's combined. So, realistically, you've got about, I'd say about 23 million pounds, maybe 23 million pounds, or maybe 24 million pounds. And then enough for a decent, like, 60 grand a week contract as well. Here's what I mean right on cue here. So a real quick tip for you guys here to remind yourself of why you should remember it's a joint budget and not a separate one. We agree a £26 million deal with Inter for Federico Di Marco. But look at this. I ain't got enough money for the contract. You might sit there and think, well, hang on a minute, you got £27.2 million on a budget and £500,000 for the wage budget. Where's the 500 grand? Well, it's been used to pay for the transfer fee for DeMarco as well. So it's a combined financial budget. They are not separate. So, yeah, in the end, as you'll see, £26 million budget we had to put a transfer fee in for Inter Milan, but that meant we only had enough for a 30 grand a week contract max, and that is not enough for a player of that caliber. So my target number 1, we didn't have enough money in the transfer budget. My target number 2, we didn't have enough in the wage budget, and that meant for target number 3, my C option, that's got to feel bad when you're a player regarded as a C option, right? But even so, my C option, this was the guy I knew I'd have enough combined. As you'll see, we put in a bid here for Renato Sanchez, one of my all-time favourite players in FIFA CM. The deal we agreed with PSG in the final Euros contract, £23.5 million plus a 10% sign-on clause. And what that meant was that we had enough money for the contract as well. As you'll see, not much, but just about 54 grand a week and a 510 grand sign-on bonus. That was most of the money we paid there. So again, even though, and I know I sound like a broken record, but even though you would have seen the budget there, or seen the budgets, I should say, and think, hang on a minute, £27 million plus the $500,000 in the wage budget as well. That's a lot of money to play with. You've got to take a few million off of that because you've got to give out a contract, most likely a sign-on bonus, and also, of course, as well, pay that transfer fee as well. So, yeah, Renato Sanchez is in, but to be fair here, he is one of my all-time favourite players in FIFA CM. Now 29 years old. May never live up to the hype he promised as a young talent, but still a really class jack-of-all-trades player. This is why I signed Bove, and this is why I'm fine getting in Sanchez as well. To me, even though he starts off natural CM, in this system, in this team, he'd be ideal on that right-hand side, replacing Hatterberg, few years younger, but a couple ratings higher, and absolutely class stats. He's quick, he's defensively solid, and he offers a lot going forward as well. So yeah, really happy with that. 29 years old, replacing Hatterberg, few years younger, and again, a little bit of a step up there as well. So even though it was my third target, it was still a really good signing on deadline day. So following that, deadline day comes to an end. We did have a bid here for Hatterberg from Villarreal. What is it about getting a bid directly after the transfer window slam shut? I swear it happens 9 times out of 10 on the back of a deadline day. As soon as you end deadline day, you get a bid for one of your players. It's like, what am I supposed to do with that, mate? Like, seriously, what am I supposed to do with that? Stop using a bloody fax machine, honestly. It's 2023, bro. But even so, yeah, following that, as you'll see, deadline day comes then. This is our side we'll be working with for most of the season, if not all of the season, at least until January. And with the 6 new signings coming in, with 4 of them going straight into the starting 11 as well, I'm really happy how the team's looking. Yes, we're still technically a 4.5-star team, but really we're on the cusp of being a 5-star team, and on the back of back-to-back wins to start the season off as well. It's been a great beginning for our title defense here. The question is, this season, do we have the depth to go further in the other competitions, unlike last year? But that will end today's episode of the Summer CM, guys. So big fan of watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you had, then please do drop a like. So you'll have a fantastic day, and I'll see you for the next episode of the Summer CM very soon.